Hi everyone, I'm Laura Godenick. I'm an astrologer and a therapist, and I'm here to give you the astrology for the weeks of June 10th through the 23rd of 2024, hopefully from a therapeutic perspective where I empower you to utilize the energy in a more productive or useful way. So tomorrow on Tuesday the 11th, we have Mars in Taurus making a square to Pluto in Aquarius. Mars is our anger, how we express it or don't express it, how we engage with conflict, how we go after what we want. It's a planet about desire and motivation. Pluto is what is beneath the surface, what has been hidden. Pluto is also power dynamics. So this aspect might have you getting to the root of something that's been frustrating or irritating or angering, and you might if you've been kind of repressing something or putting, something aside or putting it away because it hasn't felt like the right time to deal with it, or you just haven't been able to, this might be a time where that anger comes bubbling up and you can't help but engage in conflict or deal with conflict. The good thing is that Taurus is a Venus-ruled sign, and Venus's values are peace and relationship maintenance. And so Mars and Taurus can be quite good at navigating conflict peacefully and skillfully, or it could be like the total opposite as well. And Mars and Taurus can, once you get Mars and Taurus angry, it could be this like the bull, right? Taurus is the bull, charging full speed at you, won't stop, can't stop. So yeah, just being aware of potential anger that maybe has been repressed or put away, that might be bubbling up. You might have to engage with conflict or deal with conflict in some way. Also, Mars being about what we want, what motivates us. This might be, you might be kind of investigating or getting to the bottom of what you want, what you want to go after, what you want to put your energy towards, and what motivates you. You might also, this might be a good time to change a pattern of behavior that's no longer serving you, and addressing a bad habit. Also, there might be just an intense drive to do. Mars is action, Pluto is intensity, and once again, power. So this might just be an enormous power or desire to do things, to go after what you want, to build things that are beautiful. Once again, Mars is in Taurus, a Venus-ruled sign, which Venus values beauty, Venus values pleasure, Venus values peace and relationships. So this might also be intense motivation, intense energy to make beautiful things. That could be literally tilling your backyard and creating a beautiful garden. It could be going out in nature, going on a really intense hike and being in a really beautiful location out in nature. I think about Mars and Taurus as being the woodworker, the person who can make beautiful things out of natural things, out of the natural environment. Also indulging in beautiful things like chocolate or wine or making those things, kind of using your energy to make the best food with the best ingredients, the best quality. Taurus is about quality, not quantity. So it could be intense drive to create beautiful things and to make beautiful things as well. And we might notice this also Monday the 10th, all the way through Thursday or Friday of this week. So it's not just that we're going to feel it on the 11th. So on the 12th, Wednesday the 12th, we have Mercury in Gemini making a square to Saturn in Pisces. This isn't new energy, so to speak. We just had the Sun, Venus, and the Moon all in Gemini making a square to Saturn. So if you felt like this last week and it was a bit of a downer, you were maybe feeling a little alone or isolated, or you got rejected, or there was a no or critical feedback or something like that, this is kind of potentially a continuation of those themes, in the sense that you may receive feedback from someone and it might feel critical, or maybe it's just constructive. Mercury is a planet about communications and messages. So I'm thinking about like messages that you might receive that are of a Saturnian nature. Saturn is discipline, commitment, hard work, criticalness, sometimes like preciseness, exactness, seriousness, commitment. I don't know if I already said that. You might like have a serious conversation with someone about something. You may have to tend to difficult mental tasks, tasks that require just a lot of like focus and discipline, like writing a huge paper or something like that. I would say also it's important to watch your thoughts. Mercury, once again, is a planet about your thoughts, the mind in general. What messages are you sending to yourself? Because you might be a little overly critical. You might, I pay attention to the inner critic, and, it could be a good idea to ask yourself, like, is that thought really true? Is that really fair? There could be some like overly negative or fearful thoughts. So just questioning them, questioning their validity, their truthfulness. Can I find examples where the opposite is true? Like, I'm not a bad person, or I'm not a piece of shit, like things like that. So, and then Friday the 14th, Mercury makes what's called a cazimi with the sun. A cazimi is when a planet enters the heart of the sun and that planet's significations become illuminated. So you might receive an important message on this day, or insight, or have clarity around something. And it's good. It will probably relate to something in our Gemini house, in our birth chart. So whatever house that is for you, you might receive some news, or you might get a message from someone around those house topics. It's a really good time to write, to self-reflect, to put out a message, and to just gain internal clarity. And then on Sunday, the 16th, we have Venus in Gemini making a square to Neptune in Pisces. This is very daydreamy and relaxing. Venus, once again, is a planet about beauty, pleasure, love, relationships, connection, peace. And Neptune is about the fantasy, the daydream, the vision, the dream, the wanting to escape somewhere else. And so Venus making a square to Neptune can be fantasy in love, as well as disillusionment in love. You might like anyone you fall in love with on this day, or like on this weekend, definitely it's a good idea. You could like have fun with it and enjoy it, but don't like get married to that person, or like recognize that the energy is particularly like deceptive, I guess you could say. So but it's a good time to get lost in fantasy, to let yourself relax, to see the beauty in other people, to be generous and compassionate with others. You might, feel that like very flirty, energy, where you might like be pining after someone or something. But yeah, it's a really good weekend, honestly, to chill out and find a good way to escape. And I would say the same for Monday the 17th as well. That's when Mercury is making the same square to Neptune. Mercury, once again, is about the mind and communications. So good idea to do something that inspires wonder and awe in you. Maybe that's like going for a hike and being in nature. Maybe it's engaging with poetry or art or beauty in some kind. If you're someone who likes to create art, could be a good day for that. Get lost in a flow state. It's not really great for getting a lot done, or being productive. They're also like Mercury square Neptune is very prime time for miscommunications, for delays, for missed messages, misinformation, deceit even. So being mindful of and it could be accidental deceit. It's not like necessarily there's like people out there or someone who's like intentionally lying to you, although I guess that is possible as well. But yeah, it's just communication might not be as clear on this day. So we came from on Friday the 14th having something very clear come through with that Mercury conjunct the sun, and then by Monday, like by Sunday and Monday the 17th, it's like something becomes confusing again or unclear. So good time also with Mercury square Neptune to be with any grief or sadness that might come up. Neptune can bring that stuff up. It is a planet about loss and disillusionment from the dream or from the vision. Like, oh, I really wanted that thing and I was going after that thing and it didn't work out, or I got it and it wasn't what I thought it was, or I miss someone who passed away like a couple years ago, like, and I'm really feeling that sadness and that loss. So good idea or good time to really be with that. The energy does shift pretty quickly. So, and you'll be feeling that more so on Sunday, I think the 16th, maybe a little bit into Monday, but Monday the 17th, Venus also heads into Cancer, where she will be until July 12th. Mercury also heads into Cancer, where Mercury will be until July 3rd. And then Venus and Mercury make a conjunction coming together around 0 degrees of Cancer on Monday the 17th. And so this really brings about sweet words, sweet messages, forgiveness, compassion, ease in connecting, maybe a little bit of a sweet, playful energy with other people, and banter that you might hear some good news. And also still, this is a really excellent time for creating works of art, specifically having to do with words or song or poetry, or maybe like crafts with your hand, or even these two are coming together in Cancer. Cancer is about home and family and loved ones and one's close knit group. So even things like getting really creative baking or cooking, or anything kind of like homey, like canning, knitting, all sorts of possibilities. Okay, so what else do I want to say about that weekend? It's pretty dynamic, right? Like Friday the 14th, we have that insight and like awareness and clarity. And then like Sunday and the first part of Monday, there's that kind of like fogginess or confusion or wanting to escape and lack of clarity. And then like later on Monday, there's that kind of sweetness of words exchange. So it just feels like a weekend of like forgiveness. If there has been any sticky situations between you and someone else, it just feels like a good time for grieving the feelings involved and recognizing that maybe you both are hearing completely different things if there is a conflict, and that you're not quite seeing eye to eye. And then later on Monday, like being able to communicate effectively. That could be like one way that this might play out, for instance. Okay, moving on to Thursday the 20th. That's when the sun makes a square to Neptune. Similar themes. The sun is our conscious awareness. Neptune is the dream, the vision, the fantasy. So this begs the question of like, what is the dream or vision or fantasy for you? What archetypal, beautiful, ideal image are you moving towards? Have you lost touch with that? We all need a dream and vision. We all need to be inspired. And this might be a moment where the loss of inspiration is highlighted, and you're kind of like, oh, I no longer feel inspired by this vision that I have been moving towards, or it feels like I'm disappointed in it. So it could be a good time to kind of reevaluate like what that vision is for you, what the ideal dream is. Not that we can ever fully achieve necessarily the ideal, but it's important to have something to move towards that feels inspiring. We're also being asked on this day to tend to our feelings and our grief. Once again, like similar to that Mercury square Neptune, like there might be some sadness or grief that comes up. So tending to our most tender parts in us that like are sad, that feel they've been abandoned or they've been left behind. You know, it could be a day where you're just maybe more easily triggered. So just being with those parts of you. And I'm saying parts and I use a lot of like kind of internal family systems language, which is the idea that, you know, we have a self, like a core self, but also that we're also made of many different parts, and those parts come together inside of us to create an internal family. So, and we want to, you know, build relationship with ourselves and be with ourselves. So Sun square Neptune is a good day to be with the parts of us that are sad or grieving or feel loss or lost. And it's a day to engage with fantasy consciously. So yeah, like being kind of aware of like, oh, I think I might be projecting onto that person. Or I don't know if like what I'm seeing in that person is real. Like I'm seeing all these like beautiful qualities and I'm kind of maybe even enamored with them, but perhaps that's just a mirroring back to me, my own beauty, my own qualities that, or maybe even qualities that I want to see or develop in myself. Not to say that, you know, we're always projecting onto people, but often we are. And so it's a good day to see the fantasy, appreciate it, and just like maybe not necessarily take it as like fact or reality. Okay. Friday the 21st, we have a full moon in Capricorn. Full moons are times of illumination, things coming to full light. And this will be regarding your Capricorn house in your birth chart. So whatever topics or themes that are associated with that house, there might be some sort of insight or something coming to full awareness or fuller awareness. On the same day, Mercury makes a sextile to Mars in Mercury in Cancer makes a sextile to Mars in Taurus. This might be just a day where you're a bit more bold with your words, a bit more forthright. You might not even notice it. It's a really quick aspect. And that's it. That's the astrology for the next couple weeks. Hope this was helpful. I'm open for consultations if you're interested in how the astrology is showing up for you specifically in your personal birth chart. So please reach out. Also, I'd love it if you like, subscribe, comment. I love hearing how the astrology is impacting you, and it helps the channel to grow. And I will be back in a couple weeks with another astrological update, and I hope you have a wonderful couple of weeks. Take care.